Hi guys, welcome back to Miracle YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful shift dress with an Ankara chest effect, a neck slit and side pocket. It is so simple, detailed and beginner friendly. So if you are interested, please watch till the end. And if this is your first time on the channel, please click on the subscribe button and also don't forget to like, share and drop a comment. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using these two Ankara fabric you see here. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold my fabric. And when folding, I'm going to go ahead to fold both the front and the back at the same time. So after I was done folding my fabric, this is what I have. And when folding, I folded using the biggest part of the body, which is the hip divided by 4 plus 3-inch sewing allowance. And I went ahead to cut for the front and the back at the same time. The gown does not require a zipper at the back, so there is no zipper allowance on this gown that I'll be making today. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw a straight horizontal line at the top of my fabric. This line here is going to be serving as the shoulder line. So after drawing the line, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my shoulder measurement on the line I just drew. So I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder divided by 2 at this point, and I'll go ahead to mark it. After marking it, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'll be marking that also at this point. Next, I'll go ahead to come down and insert the armhole depth, and I'll also go ahead to mark, after which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like this. After I was done drawing the armhole depth, this is what it's going to look like. Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert my vertical measurement, which is the shoulder to the half length line, shoulder to the hip depth, and also shoulder to the full length plus my sewing allowance of 1 inch. After marking this point, next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw straight horizontal line at the point I just marked like so. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust circumference measurement on the chest line. So I'm going to go ahead to insert my bust divided by 4, and I'll be adding 2-inch sewing allowance. 1 inch is going to be for ease and the other 1 inch is going to be for my sewing allowance. But if you want yours to be freer than mine, you can go ahead to make your ease allowance 2 inch. Next I'm going to go ahead to move over to the waistline, and I'll be inserting my waist divided by 4 plus 2 inch for my sewing allowance and also for my ease allowance. So this gown does not require a dart because it is a free gown. After marking this on the waistline, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to move over to the hip depth line, and I'll go ahead to insert my hip divided by 4 plus 2 inch. Then I'll go ahead to mark. After marking it on the hemline, I'm going to go ahead to insert whatever I have on my hip depth line on the hemline, after which I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like so. So after I was done connecting the side, this is what it is going to look like. Next I'm going to move over to the neck, and first I'm going to go ahead to insert the neck width, and I'll be using a neck width of 3.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to mark the 3.5 inch like so. After marking the 3.5 inch, next I'm going to go ahead to insert the neck depth, and I'll be marking for the back first, and I'm going to go ahead to use 2 inch as the neck depth for the back. Next I'm going to go ahead to draw the neckline with my curved ruler like this. After drawing the back neckline, I'm going to go ahead to insert the front neck depth line, and I'm going to go ahead to mark 3.5 inch as the front neck depth. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to connect it to the neck width with my ruler like this also. So here we have the front and the back neckline. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the shoulder slope for the gown I'm making, after which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole curve. Then I'll go ahead to cut it out. After I was done cutting it out, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to determine the placement of the pocket, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to come down by 1 inch from the waistline, and I'll go ahead to mark. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to mark 7 inch downward for the opening of the pocket, and I'll also go ahead to mark. Next, I'm going to go ahead to notch the point so that I'll have the same part on the front block and also on the back block. So this is what we are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to separate the back from the front. Then I'll go ahead to cut the chest effect on the front of the gown. So next I'm going to go ahead to work on the front block of the gown, and the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to cut out the chest effect I'll be placing on the front of the gown, and in doing that I'll be using my gum stay to cut out the pattern for the chest effect, after which I'll transfer it to my main fabric. So here I have my gum stay. I'm going to go ahead to fold the gum stay into 2 like so. After folding into 2, I'll place the front block on the gum stay like you see me doing in the video. So when placing your front block, make sure that the center of the front block is aligning with the center of the gum stay. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do after doing this is to trace out the neckline and the shoulder of the gown on the gum stay using my marker and my ruler like you see me doing in the video. After tracing out the neckline and the shoulder, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to determine where I want the chest effect to stop. So for me, I'm going to be going up by 2 inch from the waistline. So I'm going to go ahead to mark the 2 inch above the waistline like so. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to fold over my fabric. Then I'll connect the shoulder to the point I just marked using my ruler like so. After which I'll go ahead to cut it out. After I was done cutting it out, this is what it's going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place it on my Ankara. So I'm going to go ahead to place it on the wrong part of my Ankara like so. After which I'll go over my ironing table to press it and attach it to the Ankara using my pressing iron. So after attaching it, I'm going to go ahead to fold in 0.5 inch on this side, and I'll also be doing the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that now, after which I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done attaching the facing to the Ankara, this is what it's going to look like, and this is what the inner part looks like. So I went ahead to fold in 0.5 inch on this side, and I did the same thing on the other side like so. So this is what you should have after you're done attaching the facing to your Ankara. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach it to the gown, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to open up the gown like so. Then I'll place the facing on it like this, making sure that the necklines are aligning. After placing it on it, I'm going to go over my sewing machine to sew it all the way around like so. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done sewing my facing to the gown, this is what it is going to look like. So when sewing, make sure you secure it with your pin so it doesn't move while you are sewing. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to finish up the neckline and also the hem, and also I'm going to go ahead to create the slit on the neckline of the gown. So first I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on the gown like so. So if you're not using the line, you can go ahead to cut out the facing that you'll be using to finish up the neckline of the gown. So I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on it like so, and placing it on the good face of the fabric. After placing it on the good face of the fabric, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to locate the midpoint of the neckline. That is where I'm going to be inserting the neck slit for the dress I'm going to be making. Next, I'm going to go ahead to measure 4 inch, which is going to serve as the length of the slit I'm going to be making. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight line with my ruler at this point like so. So after drawing the line, Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to go out by 0.25 on both sides like this. So if you want it wider, you can make your 0.5 inch. So I'm going to go out by 0.25 on both sides like this. Then I'll connect back to the center line I just drew using my ruler like this. So this is what you are going to be having. Next I'm going to go ahead to mark from the neck down to this point like so. What I'm marking here is my sewing allowance. So when sewing, you start from your neckline and sew over to the other part like so. So I'm marking this so that it will be easier for me to sew while I'm stitching on my sewing machine. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over my sewing machine and stitch all the way like this down to the other side of the shoulder, after which I will cut the slit open and knot the neckline. Then I'll turn it over and give it a good press. So if you're not fixing a lining to yours, you can go ahead to cut a facing and repeat the same process on the facing to finish up the neckline of the dress. So I'm going to go ahead to finish up the neckline of the front, and I'll also go ahead to finish up the neckline of the back using my lining also. And I'll also close up the hem and the side because I'm attaching a lining to it. After doing that, I'm going to come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done finishing up the neckline, this is what it is going to look like, and this is what the slit look like. As you can see, it's looking so neat. So you're going to go ahead to slash it open, knot your neckline, turn it over and give it a good press. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the pocket on the side of the gown. Remember, I notched where I'll be placing my pockets while we were drafting, so this is the point. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the pocket on that part. And in doing that, I've gone ahead to cut out this piece of fabric you see here. This is the piece of fabric I'll be using for the pocket, and the length of the fabric you see here is 11 inch while the width is 9 inch, and I have 4 pieces for the gown I'm making. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to take a piece of that pocket I cut out and place it on my fabric, starting from the part I notched. Then I'll go over my sewing machine to stitch it all the way down, and I'm placing it, making sure that the good face of my fabric is facing my fabric. And also when stitching, make sure you follow the curve on the hip area of your gown when stitching, and you stitch out your sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead to do this on this side, on the other side of the gown, and also on the back block of the gown. After doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done placing the pocket, this is what it looks like. So this is what you should have when you're done placing your pocket to the dress. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the front block to the back, and in doing that, I'll place the back on the front like so, making sure that the good face is facing each other. Next, I'll go ahead to join the shoulders, and I'll also go ahead to close up the side like so. I'll start from the armhole and I will stitch down to the pocket area like this, down to the hem of the gown. After closing up the side and the shoulder, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to fix my sleeve to the gown. So I've gone ahead to grab this basic short sleeve you see here. I'll be attaching this sleeve to the gown. If you don't know how to grab a basic sleeve, I have a detailed tutorial on how to grab this sleeve up on the channel, and I'll be dropping the link in the description box. So I'm going to go ahead to do this. After doing this, I'll come back to show you the final look of the gown. After I was done closing the side and fixing the sleeve to the gown, this is what it is going to look like. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and it came out looking really nice. You can go ahead to try yours. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to drop a comment and a like. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial.